Carbon cycle. The carbon cycle is the process by which carbon is exchanged between living organisms, the atmosphere, the oceans, and the Earth's crust. This cycle is essential for regulating the amount of carbon dioxide (CO2) in the atmosphere, which affects global climate and ecosystems. The carbon cycle can be divided into two processes, the biological and geological carbon cycles. 1. Biological carbon cycle. This cycle involves the exchange of carbon between living organisms and the atmosphere oceans. During photosynthesis, plants absorb CO2 from the atmosphere and use it for energy storage, releasing oxygen O2 as a byproduct. This stored carbon is then transferred to other organisms through the food chain. Carbon is returned to the atmosphere oceans through respiration. Organisms breathe out CO2 and decomposition. Decomposers break down dead organisms and release CO2. 2. Geological carbon cycle. This cycle involves the long-term storage of carbon in the Earth's crust. Carbon is removed from the atmosphere oceans through the weathering of rocks and minerals, which releases CO2. This carbon is then carried into the oceans by rivers and used by marine organisms to form shells and other structures. Over time, these structures can be buried and transformed into sediments and rock formations: limestone, coal, and oil. This stored carbon can be released back into the atmosphere through volcanic activity and the burning of fossil fuels. Human activities, such as burning fossil fuels and deforestation, have disturbed the balance of the carbon cycle by releasing more CO2 into the atmosphere than the Earth's natural carbon sinks, oceans, land, and vegetation can absorb. This has led to an increase in atmospheric CO2 levels and global warming, which has significant impacts on the climate and ecosystems. Fig. 3.14, Carbon cycle. Nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen cycle is the process by which nitrogen is converted between its different forms and transferred between living organisms, soil, water, and the atmosphere. 1. Nitrogen fixation. The first step in the nitrogen cycle is when nitrogen gas N2 from the atmosphere is converted into a more reactive form, such as ammonia NH3, by specialized bacteria called nitrogen-fixing bacteria. This process can occur naturally in soil or water, or it can be artificially stimulated through the use of fertilizers. 2. Nitrification. Ammonia is then converted into nitrite, NO2, and then into nitrate, NO3, by other soil bacteria called nitrifying bacteria. 3. Assimilation. Nitrate is assimilated, absorbed by plants and used to build proteins, nucleic acids, and other essential molecules. 4. Ammonification. When plants and animals die, decomposers, such as bacteria and fungi, break down the nitrogen-rich organic matter back into ammonia. 5. Denitrification. Denitrifying bacteria then convert nitrate back into N2 gas, which is released back into the atmosphere, completing the cycle. Human activities such as the use of fertilizers, burning of fossil fuels, and deforestation can increase the amount of nitrogen in ecosystems, which can lead to eutrophication and overgrowth of algae and other plants, and other harmful effects on the environment. On the other hand, certain agricultural practices such as crop rotation and the use of legumes for nitrogen fixation can help to maintain healthy nitrogen cycles in ecosystems. Figure 3.15, Nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation is the process by which nitrogen gas N2 from the atmosphere is converted into a more reactive form, such as ammonia NH3, that can be used by living organisms. This process occurs naturally through two main mechanisms. 1. Atmospheric nitrogen fixation. A small amount of nitrogen gas is converted into ammonia by lightning or cosmic radiation in the upper atmosphere. 2. Biological nitrogen fixation. This is the more important process and is carried out by specialized bacteria called nitrogen-fixing bacteria. These bacteria form symbiotic relationships with certain plants such as legumes, and live in nodules on their roots. The bacteria convert atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia, which is then taken up by the plant and used to build essential molecules such as proteins and nucleic acids. Human activities, such as the use of fertilizers and the burning of fossil fuels, can also contribute to nitrogen fixation on a large scale. However, this can lead to excess nitrogen in ecosystems and negative environmental impacts, such as eutrophication and the release of greenhouse gases. Symbiotic nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Symbiotic nitrogen-fixing bacteria are bacteria that form mutually beneficial relationships, or symbioses, with certain plants, particularly legumes, by forming nodules on their roots. The bacteria provide the plant with a usable form of nitrogen by converting atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia through a process called nitrogen fixation. In return, the plant provides the bacteria with nutrients and a protective environment in which to live. This relationship is called mutualism because both the plant and bacteria benefit from the interaction. Some common examples of symbiotic nitrogen-fixing bacteria include rhizobia, which live in the nodules of leguminous plants such as beans, peas, and clovers, and frankia, which live in the nodules of some woody plants like alder trees. These symbiotic relationships between nitrogen-fixing bacteria and plants are vital for maintaining healthy ecosystems and agricultural productivity. Farmers often use leguminous crops and crop rotation to improve soil fertility and reduce the need for synthetic fertilizers, which can be detrimental to the environment. Fig. 3.16. Root nodules of leguminous plant. Free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria are bacteria that are not dependent on a symbiotic relationship with plants for their survival or nitrogen fixation. These bacteria can live and grow independently in soil or water and are capable of fixing atmospheric nitrogen into a usable form. Some common examples of free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria include Azotobacter, Beijerinschia, and Clostridium. These bacteria are ubiquitous in soil, water, and other habitats and play a vital role in nutrient cycling and maintaining soil fertility. Free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria are important in agricultural systems as well. They can be used in inoculants or biofertilizers to improve nitrogen availability in the soil and reduce the need for synthetic fertilizers, which can have negative impacts on the environment. Additionally, some free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria have been used in bioremediation efforts to clean up contaminated soil and water. Nitrifying bacteria. Nitrifying bacteria are a group of bacteria that play a critical role in the nitrogen cycle by converting ammonia NH3 and ammonium NH4+ into nitrite, NO2, and then into nitrate, NO3. There are two main groups of nitrifying bacteria. 1. Ammonia oxidizing bacteria, AOB, which oxidize ammonia to nitrite through the process of ammonia oxidation. Examples of AOB include Nitrosomonas and Nitrococcus. 2. Nitrite oxidizing bacteria, NOB, which oxidize nitrite to nitrate through the process of nitrite oxidation. Examples of NOB include Nitrobacter and Nitrococcus. The conversion of ammonia and ammonium to nitrate by nitrifying bacteria is important because nitrate is a more easily utilized form of nitrogen for many plants. However, excess nitrate in soil and water can lead to environmental problems such as eutrophication and the buildup of harmful algae blooms. Nitrifying bacteria are also important in wastewater treatment systems, where they are used to remove ammonia and nitrite from wastewater by converting them to nitrate. Nitrogen fixation by lightning. Nitrogen fixation by lightning is a natural process by which atmospheric nitrogen gas N2 is converted into reactive nitrogen compounds such as nitrate, NO3, through a lightning strike. During a lightning strike, the high temperature and pressure ionize and split nitrogen molecules, which can then react with oxygen to form nitrogen oxides NOx. These nitrogen oxides then react with water in the atmosphere to produce nitrate. This process contributes to the natural nitrogen cycle by providing a significant source of fixed nitrogen for plant uptake. However, it is not a major contributor to global nitrogen fixation, as most nitrogen fixation is carried out by bacteria living in soil or symbiotically with plants. Lightning-induced nitrogen fixation can also have negative effects on the environment. Nitrogen compounds produced by lightning can contribute to acid rain and can also negatively impact air quality, particularly in urban areas where nitrogen oxide emissions from human sources are high. Denitrifying bacteria. Denitrifying bacteria are a group of bacteria that play an important role in the nitrogen cycle by converting fixed nitrogen compounds back into atmospheric nitrogen gas N2. These bacteria use the process of denitrification to convert nitrate, NO3, or nitrite, NO2, to N2, a process that requires an anaerobic oxygen-poor environment. Denitrifying bacteria typically live in soil, sediments, and water where oxygen is limited. Examples of denitrifying bacteria include Pseudomonas, Bacillus, and Paracoccus, among others. These bacteria are important in agricultural systems because excess nitrate in soil and water can lead to environmental problems such as eutrophication, the depletion of oxygen in water bodies, and the formation of harmful algal blooms. In addition to agricultural systems, denitrifying bacteria are also important in wastewater treatment systems as they help remove excess nitrate from wastewater. However, excessive denitrification can lead to the loss of fixed nitrogen from the soil, which can reduce soil productivity, particularly in agricultural systems. Revision exercise 3.2. 1. Briefly explain the term nutrient cycle. The term nutrient cycle refers to the circulation of essential nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus through living organisms, the soil, and the environment. These nutrients are taken up by plants, ingested by animals, decomposed by microorganisms, and eventually released back into the environment in a continuous cycle. The nutrient cycle plays an important role in maintaining ecological balance and serving as a foundation for life on Earth. It ensures that nutrients are constantly available to living organisms, allowing for growth, reproduction, and sustainability. Human activities, such as overfertilization, land use change, and pollution, can disrupt the nutrient cycle, leading to imbalances and negative environmental impacts. 2. Describe the nutrient cycle of nitrogen. The nutrient cycle of nitrogen involves the conversion of atmospheric nitrogen gas N2 into forms that can be used by plants and other organisms, and its eventual return back to the atmosphere. The nitrogen cycle can be divided into several stages. 1. Nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation is the process of converting atmospheric nitrogen gas into a more usable form, such as ammonia NH3, or nitrate, NO3. This process can be carried out by both free-living and symbiotic bacteria, such as Rhizobium and Azotobacter, as well as cyanobacteria and lightning. 2. Nitrification. Nitrification is the process by which ammonia is converted into nitrite, NO2, and then nitrate by nitrifying bacteria such as Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter. Nitrate can be taken up by plants and used for growth and metabolism. 3. Assimilation. Assimilation is the process by which plants take up nitrate and convert it into organic compounds such as amino acids and proteins. 4. Ammonification. Ammonification is the process by which organic nitrogen compounds in dead plant and animal matter and waste products are broken down into ammonia and ammonium by bacteria and fungi. 5. Denitrification. Denitrification is the process by which nitrate and nitrite are converted back into atmospheric nitrogen gas by denitrifying bacteria in anaerobic conditions. Through these processes, nitrogen moves between living organisms, the soil, and the atmosphere, playing a crucial role in the growth and development of plants and other organisms. 3. Explain the importance of nutrients circulation. The circulation of nutrients is important because it allows nutrients to be continuously recycled and reused by living organisms, maintaining the ecosystem's balance and supporting life on Earth. Some of the key reasons why nutrient circulation is important are: 1. Nutrients are required for growth. All living organisms require nutrients to grow, develop and reproduce. Nutrient circulation ensures that essential nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus are continually available for uptake by plants and other organisms. 2. Ecological balance. Nutrient circulation helps maintain ecological balance within ecosystems by ensuring that no nutrients are lost or accumulated in large amounts. This prevents imbalances in nutrient availability that could lead to the decline of certain species or the growth of unwanted species such as algae and water bodies. 3. Soil fertility. The circulation of organic matter and nutrients generated from decomposing organic matter helps to maintain soil fertility, which is crucial for agriculture and forestry. Nutrient cycling within soil also supports nutrient uptake by plants, ensuring their health and yield. 4. Climate regulation. Many nutrients play an important role in regulating the Earth's climate. For example, carbon cycles through the atmosphere and oceans, which helps regulate the global temperature and greenhouse gas concentrations. 5. Mitigating pollution. Nutrient cycling also plays a crucial role in mitigating the pollution of land and water bodies. Nutrient-rich runoff from agricultural fields or wastewater treatment plants can lead to eutrophication, which reduces the oxygen levels in water and kills fish and other aquatic organisms. Nutrient recycling helps reduce pollution and maintain water quality. In summary, nutrient circulation is important for the growth and survival of organisms, maintaining ecological balance, soil fertility, climate regulation, and mitigating pollution. 4. Outline the ways through which carbon element is released back to the atmosphere. Carbon is released back to the atmosphere primarily through the processes of respiration, combustion, and decomposition. Here is an outline of the ways carbon is released back to the atmosphere. 1. Respiration. All living organisms, including plants, animals, and microbes, release carbon dioxide CO2 during respiration as a byproduct of breaking down glucose for energy. This process releases CO2 into the atmosphere. 2. Combustion. The burning of fossil fuels, wood, and other plant material for energy also releases carbon into the atmosphere. Combustion of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas is the primary source of carbon emissions from human activities, contributing to climate change. 3. Decomposition. When organic matter such as dead plants or animals decompose, they release CO2 as part of the process. This includes the decay of plant matter on forest floors, as well as the decomposition of animal and plant remains in wetlands, rivers, and oceans. 4. Human activities. Human activities such as deforestation, land use changes, and agriculture also contribute to carbon emissions by releasing carbon stored in trees and soil, and through the use of fertilizers and livestock. 5. Ocean-atmosphere exchange. The oceans absorb and release carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through a process called ocean-atmosphere exchange. Carbon dioxide dissolves in ocean water and is eventually released back into the atmosphere through ocean currents and upwelling. In summary, carbon is released into the atmosphere through respiration, combustion, decomposition, human activities, and ocean-atmosphere exchange. These processes contribute to the natural carbon cycle and the much faster human-caused increase in atmospheric carbon, which leads to climate change. 5. How does lightning lead to nitrogen fixation? Lightning can lead to nitrogen fixation through a process called atmospheric nitrogen fixation. Lightning provides enough energy to break the bonds between nitrogen molecules N2 in the atmosphere, allowing these individual nitrogen atoms to react with oxygen and water molecules to form nitrogen compounds such as nitric oxides NOx, nitrate, NO3, and ammonia NH3. These nitrogen compounds then fall to the ground through rainfall, where they are taken up by plants and other organisms as a source of nitrogen for growth and development. This natural process of nitrogen fixation plays an important role in maintaining the balance of nitrogen in the ecosystem, as it provides a source of nitrogen that is essential for the growth of plants and other organisms. However, it is important to note that human activities such as the overuse of nitrogen fertilizers and the burning of fossil fuels can also contribute to atmospheric nitrogen fixation, which can lead to the production of harmful nitrogen compounds and contribute to environmental problems such as eutrophication and air pollution. 6. Give 2 examples of denitrifying bacteria. Denitrifying bacteria are those bacteria that convert nitrates or nitrites in the soil into gaseous nitrogen, which is then lost to the atmosphere. 2 examples of denitrifying bacteria are: 1. Pseudomonas stutzeri. This is a soil bacterium that is known to denitrify nitrates and nitrites to produce nitrogen gas as a byproduct. It can also denitrify other nitrogen compounds like nitrous oxide, N2O, and ammonium, NH4+. 2. Bacillus denitrificans. This is another soil bacterium that is capable of denitrification. It can break down nitrates and nitrites in anoxic conditions, in the absence of oxygen, and convert them to nitrogen gas. Denitrifying bacteria are important for maintaining the balance of nitrogen in the ecosystem, as they help to recycle nitrogen and prevent the accumulation of excess nitrates and nitrites in the soil, which can be harmful to plants and other organisms. However, excessive denitrification can also lead to nitrogen loss from the ecosystem, which can affect soil fertility and contribute to environmental problems such as air pollution. 7. To which form is nitrogen utilized by plants? Plants primarily use nitrogen in the form of nitrate, NO3, and ammonium, NH4+ ions. These forms of nitrogen are obtained by plants through the process of nitrogen fixation, in which nitrogen gas N2 is converted into ammonia NH3, or other nitrogen compounds that can be taken up by plants. Once in the soil, these nitrogen compounds are converted into nitrate or ammonium ions through the process of nitrification, which is carried out by soil bacteria. Nitrate and ammonium ions are then taken up by the roots of plants and used to synthesize amino acids and other nitrogen-containing compounds that are necessary for growth and development. Nitrogen is an essential nutrient for plants, and a lack of available nitrogen can limit plant growth and yield. Therefore, it is important for soils to have a sufficient amount of nitrogen in an accessible form for plants to use.